Hello everyone, it's GalahadB again, and now I am covering Game 3 of Round 2 against Andre CRC. Yeah, this match will decide who gets the better seeding between the two of us. Fortunately, both of us will continue to the next round. So if you've watched Game 2, you will know that I have had a very rough shadow game against a very fast three people, who were also very elusive. And now for game three, so we had two free people victories, and now a dice roll determined who gets to choose sides, which was Andre, and he chose to play free people, but this time with two tokens. And I'm happy because I feel like Shadow is my strongest side. Last game was a fluke, so surely this game can't be as worse as the last one. So yeah, he gets the perfect roll for round one. Like you can do anything with that. You can crown Aragorn, you can sprint the Fellowship, and fortunately this time around I get a better roll than last time where I had 4 eyes and then still failed to reveal the Fellowship when they move 3 times. Now I get only 2 eyes, which is much better. I get 2 Masters, I can get Saruman, I have Mortal Wound if Fellowship gets revealed early, so I'm reasonably happy. I'm not happy about this roll for the free people, but well. And yeah, I say here in the chat that I it's a little above I think that I have some flashbacks seeing that roll because in last game he rolled 4 movements in round 1 and he did the same here. So not a happy sight for me. And I definitely expect him to run 3 times. So he moves, he's safe. I move, and he moves again, and he's safe again. And I say, yeah, that's some real flashbacks now. And I'm not happy. I mean, it's reasonably likely that Fellowship will not be hit against 2 eyes on 2 moves. But, I mean, it's not unreasonable to expect 1 hit. So, and I say move again into 2, just like last game. And yeah, he does move again. I do hit him, and it's a 2. So yeah, perfect flashbacks from game 1. So yeah, this is off to a really bad start now. And I say, well, if there's one series to lose, it would be this one. I mean, I'm not thinking about losing this game now, but well, it's definitely in the back of my mind the time I played it. But like everything's still wide open. It's just a very, very good turn 1 for the free people, and it's an okay turn for the Shadow. Like the Shadow turn 1 is actually pretty good, but it's made so much worse by how fast the Fellowship got to move. In comparison, it's not a very good turn 1. And so he gets 2 tokens. He chooses this moment to use the card draw to prevent me from getting Saruman. And I get it. I'm not sure that's a great play. Like, delaying Saruman is nice, but that also delays Gandalf, and I mean, Gandalf is dead, so there's a pretty good chance that if he gives me Saruman now, that he gets Gandalf turn 2, which would be amazing. And you spend a token for that. It's a little advantageous for the free people, but losing the token is also a little painful. So that might save you from cruel weather, maybe. I mean, I don't have it, but I might draw into it. So I just move some armies then instead, and I'm happy to see a token gone. And indeed, he just gets the same roll again, and he would have gotten a turn 2 Gandalf were it not for his decision to use a token. So, like, at least I'm happy to not have to face again a game against turn 2 Gandalf the White. That would suck. Yeah, I lament my bad fortune here. I like to do that a lot. I don't know, just something that I like to do. And I'm so happy because unlike last game, I hit him on move 4, and I have some hopes that maybe this time I can reveal him, and I do. So I'm happy. Already going much better than last game. But of course, Moria tells an eye. I play Mortal Wound. I mean, I don't know what kind of games we're getting, but like I've already drawn the same number of tiles that I've drawn the entire last game until the Fellowship declared in Mordor. So I felt like, okay. I mean, it's looking much better corruption-wise. He still has 6 steps to go. Let's play Mogul Wound. I mean, it's not gonna get better than this. He hides. I get some rerolls onto him, and he moves again. I hit him 3 times now. And yeah, it's just a 1. The Aya has already been gone. Yeah, and I note that this is also a repeating pattern that whenever I do hit a lot during the hunt, it's not an eye. Like last game, I had 4 hits in 1 hunt roll, only to draw 2 to kill off Gandalf, where an eye would have done a lot of damage. But yeah, it is what it is. So and he also has Arthelas. I'm like, oh no, there goes the corruption backup plan. So I'm now very certain that I have to win by military. And I'm not feeling too hopeful. Like, it's okay, but it's definitely looking very good for the 3 people, and it's not looking great for the Shadow. Like, it's not looking bad, but I mean, I've made no progress whatsoever. Like, that's been 2 turns where I've made almost no progress. Still at 0 victory points, no stronghold under siege. But at least nothing has been mustered. And I have Corsairs of Umbar, so yeah. Like I said, much more hopeful than last time around. So I get this beautiful roll. No musters, which means I can't get the Witch King, and he gets turn 3 Gandalf, which is the earliest he could have gotten it after he denied me Saruman turn 1. So, yeah. I'm not thrilled. So right away, he uses a ring to move, which is, I think, a very good call, because otherwise he gives me a chance to get some rerolls on, and you don't want that as Shadow. So I can only play 1 card with a Palantir, so I decide to play Shadows now to have a really big army sieging Lorien. And yeah, I make up my merry way to the Dew Line, because I don't really see a better target otherwise. And he brings in Gandalf to the Grey Havens, so I'm like, okay. The only card that lets him do that with any real efficiency is Book of Mazarbul. I mean, he could have 4-5 foes, but he doesn't have a muster left anyways, and I'm right next to Dale, so like if he has 4-5 foes, then I wouldn't even care. I can just take Dale, and then he can muster in Carrick, and I don't really care. Like, I'm not too worried about military shenanigans from the 3 people here. I'm worried about the Fellowship just sprinting to dunk the ring. So him spending time mustering some troops that will never see any action is of no concern to me. Book of Mazarbul is a very big concern, though, because that might mean that Erebor is an impenetrable fortress that might actually threaten a retake on Dale, so I have to deal with that right away. And I deal with it by moving to Dale, instead of attacking Old Forest Road. Musters the north, 1 more step down, but yeah. The only way that I can stop Book from ruining all my plans. And yeah, we continue with some more bad luck, just like last game. I play a Swarm of Bats. He does not have, or didn't play. Yeah, he didn't have Scouts, alright. But I failed to roll a 6, and then I also failed to roll a 5 on the reroll. So no hits. And I put a smiley face because I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of funny how, I don't know, the game is just throwing me off my game a little. Like, I'm doing all the right decisions, I think, and I just don't get any reward so far. But like I said, much more hopeful than the last time around. So my opponent thinks he really wants to play. Like, yeah, we can see, and I mean, I played the game. I know he has it. He did have Book of Mazarbul, but obviously playing it now feels a little weak because I can just attack Erebor, and then he played it and didn't get anything out of it. So he uses the token here. to muster Gondor closer to war and give himself the last option so that if I don't attack Erebor, he can play Book and then the start of next turn muster something in Erebor. But I mean, that was a pretty clear tell that he's going to play Book of Mazabu now. So obviously I attack Erebor and nothing bad can happen. Yeah, and I debate how many troops I want to send in versus how many do I want to leave behind in Dale, because I'm expecting him to maybe muster up stuff in Iron Hills, and then if I only have a single regular in Dale, then he can retake Dale from Iron Hills, and then it's gonna cost me a lot of dice. And do I really think I can take Erebor right now? It's a close call, and with North almost at war, I felt like I'd rather have an army in Dale to deal with Iron Hills or North retakes and then see what happens. And he still plays Book of Mazabu because what else is he gonna do? Maybe play Dane? I didn't know he had it, but yeah, I mean playing Book is also fine because it's another army that I somehow need to deal with. Oh, I think, and yeah, we chatted about the Book of Mazabu play, and he's saying he should have played Gandalf earlier to threaten Fearfire foes. Like, we know he had Book, and from the way he played it, I knew that the only card that I would be afraid of was Book. If he had played it earlier, then maybe he could scare me that he might have Fearfire foes, but I don't think he had a muster, right? I don't think I would have cared too much. Actually, he did have one army muster to move troops around. Yeah, to move something into Erebor. Yeah, I'm not sure that that really would have done anything. And he's out of tokens, so that's good. I mean, I still haven't found Cruel Weather or anything else to stall him, but you know, if I get it, I'll be happy. And yeah, I get this beautiful roll. 5 musters. After having been a little starved on musters, the game felt like, okay, have some musters, you need them. I mean, this basically happens once every game as Shadow, that you'll have a turn where you just roll all musters and nothing else, pretty much. And I think, I mean, I like those turns because it's, you know, what sets you apart from other players is how you use those musters to great efficiency. Also, I'd like to think. He right away musters up in Iron Hills, and I'm like, alright, I mean, with the whole play here and the regular from Dale retreating into Woodland Realm, I'm settling for a maximum of 3 victory points out of the due line. So in my mind, I basically already gave up on Erebor. Like, I might take it, but it's gonna cost me way too many dice for how fast the Fellowship is moving. So I finally get the Witch King. Like, I have a plan here. I always make up a plan. What am I gonna do with those musters? Like, the natural reaction would be to get the Serpents to war, prepare for Corsairs, and then take the Lamroth quickly or something. But I can't actually do that here because I only have one army and one character, and there's no leadership down in Far Harad or near Harad. So I can't do it this turn anyways. And besides, as long as I don't attack the elves to war, there's nothing bad happening Gondor. Or so I think. So there's no real rush there. So my plan is to instead muster elites in North Dunland, play Rage of the Dunlandings, because he doesn't really have any way to react to that. He only has a single muster. I mean, if he uses the will to muster the elves, like, I'm super happy. That means he might not make it to Mordor next round. So yeah, the plan is threaten Rivendell, and then next turn besiege Lorien, Rivendell, and then who knows, maybe even Woodland Realm. But basically my plan here is Lorien, Rivendell, Dol Amroth for 6 victory points, and then Dale and Rohan for 10. That's the basic plan, because like in my mind, this giant army in Lorien will be pretty strong coming out of the siege combat, and it can merge up with Isengard to put the nail in the coffin for Rohan. That's the idea, anyways. Um, so yeah, and he does me the favor by mustering a second elite into Iron Hills here. Like I just said, my plan right now is one victory point out of the Dew line, just Dale. So I don't mind him mustering up there one bit. He moves, he's safe, and I muster up elites, like I mentioned, and I play Rage, and I just hope that this small army is enough for 4 hit points in Rivendell, but it's only 3 combat dice, so like there is some consideration to move them to Holland and then merge the one guy from Moria to Holland, but that's just 1 extra hit point. I don't have time for that. So yeah. He moves again, he's safe again, and I move troops around. And he gives me a ring here to move a 3rd time. I'm not sure you have to. Like 2 steps from Mordor is pretty good, I would say. Rolling 5 dice. But I can see why against only 1 eye, and you might have to factor in cruel weather, so he might want to move twice next round, and then it's a little more risky. But I mean, the odds of me having cruel weather is pretty low. I've only drawn 4 cards out of my deck. I'll draw 1 more, so I'll be up to 5. Very unlikely. 20% chance. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a mistake. I put Rivendell in the siege in case he happens to draw into a power 2 grade. I am definitely way more worried about Rivendell than about Lorien. Oh, that's funny. He discarded Bilbo's song. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like, corruption after the Athala seal, basically on the same level as it was last game. But crucially, he's not in Mordor yet, and I'm doing a lot better than last game. I mean, maybe not that much better than last game, but certainly better. So now he gets this beautiful roll. Only a single move, so using a ring last turn, maybe not the worst idea. And 4 musters. And crucially, Day Without Dawn, if I had it, which I don't, is not online yet. So you could, in theory, start using those musters first if you have a real plan of where you're gonna use them. And like one of the things that I would worry about is Process of Umbar. Like it's always a pretty big worry in my head when I'm playing 3 people. And so I might be tempted to just muster Gondor to war. Then if you see Shadow mustering the South runs and put an elite in Dol Amroth, then Southlands get mustered to war. Then you are afraid of Day Without Dawn, so you move the Fellowship. Then the South runs run into Umbar, so then you get muster another elite into Dol Amroth. And suddenly you're at 7 7 hit points in Dol Amroth, and it's not looking tasty anymore. So the downsides to that is it leaves you open in Woodland Realm and Lorien. Like right now, I could put both of them under siege, and he can't really react to that. Like, sure, if I vacate Dale, then he can retake it. Yeah. So maybe I would also be a little worried about the elves. So maybe muster the elves once, but that leaves Dol Amroth weak. I don't know. Like those are the 2 things I would be worried about. Though I would be less worried about the Woodland Realm attack, because with the dwarves at war, and then the north would also be at war, because an attack onto Woodland Realm, which has a north unit, would provoke them towards war. So I feel like this army might not hold up against the united power of 3 different Free People armies. And it's a weak army, like it's only 6 hit points. They might not even take Woodland Realm. So yeah, I'd probably worry more about Dol Amroth. He musters the elves. Okay, like it's not a bad idea. I muster the Southrons. And he passes. Like he's not too worried about Corsairs right now. I muster them again. And now he moves because of Day of the Dawn, which makes sense. He's safe again. And yeah, now I threaten Corsairs, and now he can't do anything about it anymore. I have Corsairs. So yeah. He has Imrahil, but Imrahil alone is usually not enough to stop Dol Amroth from falling. So yeah, this is looking like two pretty easy victory points after all. And now I decide, well, what to do. I can put Lorien under siege, but I mean, unless he musters the elves again, there's no real rush. And I kind of want to finish Dol Amroth before I put the elves to war, just in case he happens to have Kid ships again. And well, yeah, well, what do I know? Like he played that card later on in the game, but he did actually have it. So boy, am I glad that I did what I did. Play Black Captain commands and attack Dol Amroth. And yeah, I was debating, should I play Black Breath as a combat card so I can maybe redraw into Cruel Weather? But I decide the odds of me drawing into Cruel Weather from just one card draw are too low. And by not cycling a card, I might give him the impression that I'm not looking to draw new character cards because I already got what I wanted to have in Cruel Weather. So I decide, okay, let's stick with the strategy card after all. And I get 3 hits, he gets 4 hits back. No problem. 6 HP against 2. I'm not worried. Press no card, get 1 hit, he gets 2 hits back, and I'm like, it's a little painful. Hitting everything. Press again, no hits, and he gets another hit, and I'm like, oh no. And I say just like last game, yeah, because last game I think there was Woodland Realm or something, some stronghold which proved to be very tough because he's just hitting every combat roll, and I'm not. Like I think at this point I'm pretty low on hits. Yeah, at this point I'm I have 48 dice rolled and I rolled 3 6s. So 3 out of 48. 5 less than I was expected to. I made up with it by rolling lots of 5s, but I don't think they mattered much. So yeah, it's definitely not looking good, but I've seen worse. I play Olokai into Dol Amroth. I'm really hoping that he gives me a ring for fear of Cruel Weather, and he does. And I think, like, it's okay to do that, but man, as 3 people, would I feel like, if only I had a token so that I know if I actually need to spend my last ring, like it's his last ring. Yeah. And he did have 2 tokens. I'm not sure. I think I would have kept at least one for a situation like this. So that you can see if Shadow has it, and then if they don't have it, then you don't have to spend your last ring. And also, hopefully, not get revealed. But he does get revealed, and the redraw is a 3. And so he takes random, and it's Strider. So now I'm so happy because I think, okay, without any rings and without Strider, it's almost impossible for him to dunk in 2 turns. So I have 2 more turns to win the game. And that's just, yeah, what I'll have to try and do. It's not super great odds, but, you know, with Dol Amroth, Rivendell, Lorien, Stale, I'm at 7 victory points soon-ish. So yeah, I try Dol Amroth again because what else am I gonna do? I cycle Black Breath now because I can't play it anymore anyways. And he gets another hit. Like, he's only rolled hits in Dol Amroth. But hey, I got there in the end. Cost me 1 extra die, and the remaining army is pretty weak, but it's mine now. And crucially, seeing this makes me a little proud that I played around Gideon's ships perfectly well, without losing any momentum on the Elven strongholds. So that was pretty big. And yeah, and he gets another just amazing roll. I mean, ugh, what would I give to have those rolls as 3 people? Like, remember the first 2 turns of the game where he rolled 2 characters and 2 wills, but 2 turns straight, and now first turn into Mordor, and he rolls this after having just lost Striders. So the tears of losing Strider are not too deep now. Yeah. Yeah, nice. I'd love to have him rolling my dice when I'm next playing 3 people. Obviously, we don't have this kind of luck every game. And that's a good roll. So he moves. It's a 0 reveal. Love to see that as 3 people. And I'm just frantically playing the red tiles here because, I mean, I don't really have anything else to play. Like, Shadow's Gather sure is a great card, but not for right now. And Orc Patrol, I was considering it a bit before playing the reds, but what does it really do? I mean, the Fellowship right now is at effective -4 corruption, and the hunt pool is not that bad, and the risk of drawing an eye is pretty real here because there's, like, before I put the reds, there's 6 standard tiles and 4 eyes, 40% chance to draw an eye. It's not great. Yeah, he hides. I bring in the mouth. Plays File, makes sense. Lorien under siege. He plays Caliborn's Galadrim instead of moving again, which I think makes sense. By playing Caliborn's Galadrim, you can reasonably expect to last 1 more turn maybe, so that you can see a turn 8 and you don't have to dunk next round. And against 4 eyes, moving might be a little scary. I don't know. I think moving would also make sense. Not very likely that I'll attack Lorien right out of the gate. And yeah, I'm thinking now, what am I thinking? I'm probably thinking between trying to finish Rivendell right now so that he doesn't get a chance to play Kindred of Glorfindel if he happens to draw into it. I don't think he had. Oh, he actually did have it. Wow. Wow, that's big. Oh, then it's a mistake to play Caliborn's Galadrim. Because if you play Kindred of Glorfindel instead, then suddenly my army in Rivendell is not looking so strong anymore. Like, it would be 9 HP against 6. That's a little close comfort. And I already have leadership in Rivendell. I don't have leadership in Lorien, so the risk is much bigger that I attack Rivendell first than Lorien. Also, my Lorien army is much bigger, so the odds are, even with playing Caliborn's Galadrim, that it will fall eventually. Whereas Rivendell might actually just straight up beat my army, so I need to reinforce it. Oh, that's very, very interesting. Well, I'm happy that he didn't play it for sure. And yeah, I do decide to go Rivendell. Precisely because I'm very afraid that he might have a reinforcement card and then my army is not good enough anymore. Fortunately, I get a great combat roll. 3 hits. So suddenly I'm not -5 on 6s anymore, only -2. So I press. I don't get a redraw. but there's only one hit point standing, so I don't play a card. I get another hit. And okay, it turns out if I roll like this, I would have punched through Rivendell even with Kindred of Glorfindel. So yeah, I definitely got a little lucky there. But I feel like, I mean, I was due a little luck, at least in my mind. So I have 3 rings, I have no real use for the Palantir, so might as well do something useful with it. So I shuffle Nazgul around. I already played Black Captain, the odds of me drawing into Ring Race are abroad are pretty low. So yeah, I use the ring here. So I get no more eyes, and he rolls another 4 character dice. But since he did not move again last turn, and because he doesn't have a ring, the odds of him actually dunking this turn are extremely low. Because he'd basically need to run into 3 out of those 5 tiles back to back to even have a shot at dunking, and then there's still 2 red tiles that would stop him. So the odds are really not that high. I mean, sure, you could try it, move 1, see what happens. But the downside is if you burst, then you leave Woodland Realm open. Like there's an army in Dale, you don't have any army moves and no rings, so if I were to attack Woodland Realm right now, then you missed your shot of reinforcing it. And it's gonna be uncomfortable to even try and take Dale back, because then you need to use the muster to muster leader into Iron Hills, and then use a character to take it back. Yeah, it's just uncomfortable. I would be tempted to use the muster first and shore up Woodland Realm, because nothing else is under threat really. And I don't have a way of getting to 10 victory points this turn if I don't take Woodland Realm. Unless I risk a siege in Erebor, which I'm not really thrilled about. So he moves right away, and he runs into a stop, which obviously I'm happy about. But it wasn't too important, because Fellowship is still super healthy, and he has 3 more characters, so him dunking next turn is very likely. The question is, can I win this turn? And crucially, he did not muster up anything in Woodland Realm. And so I think to myself, this is my 1 out of snatching it, so I immediately go for it. He moves again, it's a 2. Alright, he can't dunk anymore this turn, so I'm not worried. I'm worried about finishing the game this round. So fortunately, I have one of my all-time most favorite strategy cards in the game, Shadow's Gather. Like, Shadow's Gather and Corsairs of Umbar are so good. Because I had no real odds of winning this turn without it. 1 extra lead, 3 more regulars should be enough to beat Woodland Realm. So what do I need to do? I need to beat Lorien, beat Woodland Realm, then I'm at 9 victory points and I only need 1 more city. And for that I have several options. Either Edoras or Pelagia. Yeah, I mean technically also the Shire, but that's too far away. Like I have this die, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more attacks, plus a ring. So 5 more attacks. But I need 5 more attacks. I need 1 for Lorien and 1 for Woodland Realm, so I'll be left with a maximum of 4 dice, which is just about enough to get the Rivendell guys over to the Shire. And he can't play it Power of Tongue Bombadil because he didn't have the right dice for it. So it would be possible. Edoras would be much easier to take than Shire from the leftover army out of Lorien. And then Pelagia, I can either take the Minas Morgul army, it's 5 regulars against just 1, which should be enough. And if I need to spend more dice on other stuff, then I could, in a desperation attempt, also use these guys from Dol Amroth. It's only 4 hit points, but with a lot of Nazgul leadership, that might be enough to defeat just 3 HP plus an extra elite, so 5 HP. Yeah. But the idea is to get this guy killed so that he can't retreat. Hopefully don't take a hit back. Just 66% that I don't take a hit. So I'd only need to battle 3 HP in Pelagier. I did not know that he had Kid and Ships. If I had known that, then Pelagier would have been low on my list. But anyway, so first things first, I need Lorien and Woodland Realm. So I'm less worried about Woodland Realm because that's just 4 HP, whereas Lorien is 7. I only have 3 presses. So I'm not sure which card, because I like to keep Dreadful Spells as a desperation attack with a Palantir. But since I only have 2 Nazgul and Lorien, and well, I have 4 Nazgul in Woodland Realm, but that's the easier stronghold, I should have probably sent the Mouth over there and more Nazgul into Lorien. So that way, Dreadful Spells could have actually done something. And yeah, for the most part, just get 1 hit. He gets 2 hits. I press because I am a little desperate and running out of time. So now I think I play Dreadful Spells. Yeah, into advantageous position, so nice counter. But I get 2 hits anyways. I press again because, like I said, I'm running out of time real fast. And yeah, I use my Swarm of Bats, so no shadow is moving anymore. Because I really want to win Lorien right now. Get 2 hits, gets 1 hit back. Oh no, he doesn't, because yeah, he rolled 4 combat dice, but he only had 3 units, so this is his reroll, and this gets ignored. And so I decide to press again. No card, and only get 1 hit. So yeah, couldn't take Lorien on 1 die, and because I've also lost the shadow is moving, I am now down to, with a ring, 5 attacks, but I need at least 1 more for Lorien, at least 1 for Woodland Realm, so best case scenarios, I have 3 more attacks. So Shire is safe. But Eris could still be a target if I attack out of Orthanc. It's 1, 2, 3. That would still work. And Pelagier works as long as I have at least 2 dice to attack. So I try Lorien again, try to cycle something. I get my hit. So that's nice. And I draw into Isildur's Bane. So I moved Nazgul around. Funny that I would do that now. Yeah, I think the idea was that I want to cycle some cards in battle, and I'm pretty much set on. Yeah, I remember now. So the issue was that I only had 3 attack dice left with a ring, but then I would have to attack without leadership, and 4 HP against 5 HP, or even 5 HP against some number of HP did not seem very safe to me. Whereas with leadership, I kill this guy, don't take a hit back, probably, and then have to battle against 3 hit points. So I felt like I'd rather try it with 4 HP plus full leadership than with 5 HP without any leadership. So that's why I felt, okay, the only way that can work now is Dale. Is Pelagier. And that might have actually been a mistake, because I could have just taken Edoras out of Orthanc with 3 attacks without any extra leadership. It depends a bit on what he does. Like if the guys from Forts of Eisen can retreat Helm's Deep, and then with a character die, he can move some troops out into West Emnet. Then if I attack into West Emnet, it puts Rohan to war. They can muster. Yeah, it was a little unsafe as well, because the army in Orthanc was not very big. So, yeah, I think it was a reasonable choice. Yeah, and I ended up sending another Nazgul over to Woodland Drum because I was kind of sure I would take 4 hit points in 3 rounds of combat, but then I wasn't sure enough. Like, this game has been pretty scary, so I did not want to leave it too close for comfort. And yeah, and now the idea is to take the easier fight, which in this case was blamed on, so that he wouldn't know how the game would end before he gets to make his decision. So I want to leave maximum uncertainty for my last action, so that he needs to take an action without knowing whether he will win the, I don't know, 50-50 final battle or not. Doesn't really matter here, probably, because he didn't have too many dice to do much about it. But yeah. So he did have Kid and Ships, which I am now very sad to find out. Yeah, I try and take on Woodland Realm with my one and only card that I have. And he plays his final card. Oh no, he still has one more. Right. It's 1 hit. I get 3 hits. It's great. So I overcommitted into Woodland Realm. Better be safe than sorry. And yeah, he again rolled maximum number of hits back, but my army was so big that it didn't really matter. The Fellowship. Fellowship is still very much fine on corruption. Effective for corruption, 2 steps out. That's wonderful. And a red tile already out of the pool. And yeah, now I'm debating between risking a really close battle in Pelagia or hoping that he can't dunk next round. Because he doesn't have a ring, so if he only gets 2 moves and he runs into an eye or red, which is not that unlikely, then he might not be able to dunk next turn, and I can hopefully take Edoras or something for the win next round. But if he rolls 2 dice, he might still dunk, and if he rolls 2 movement, he might still dunk, and if he rolls any more than 2 dice, then he's almost guaranteed to dunk unless he runs into that tile. And the odds of him dunking are even higher if he draws There's Another Way next round. Because then if he runs into this tile, then, or even any of the eyes or whatnot, then Gollum could get him through with just a Palantir instead. So I think, well, I might have to go for the win this turn. So I draw another card. I draw a character card because I have 3 Nazguls here. So I was looking for something like Dread and Despair, or something that would, like, the downside with strategy cards is that they usually help my opponent too. And he has the stronger army. He has 5 hit points. I only have 4. So I'm looking for defensive cards. Dread and Despair would be my number 1 draw, or something that boosts my combat capabilities without aiding him at all. Something like They Are Terrible or Cruelest Death, which I did not find here. So he hides, and so what I'm like, obviously it's better to take the shot at winning the game now than it is to be at the mercy of the dice for next round. But the downside is if I try Pelagia here and fail, then he can just take back the Lamroth and 100% wins the game. Because then I can't even win next round anymore. So that's why I was hesitating. Say, first round of combat, I get no hits, he gets 3 hits, then I'm done. I can't press, and then next round he can just, with almost any combination of dice, take back the Lamroth. There's nothing I can do. But I feel like the odds of him being able to dunk next round are too high to not try and take this, because yes, he has one more hit point than me, and yes, he's in a city, but I roll more dice than him. I mean, he gets 3 dice, and I roll 4 plus 3, so 7 dice. Um, so I don't know. I feel like it should be pretty close to 50-50. And then I'd rather take the shot than see him dunk the ring next turn. I play the one and only card that might help me. He plays his one and only card. And I get 1 hit, and so does he. So that was okay. I mean, I was very scared about the first round of combat. Now I hit on 5s, and I rolled twice the number of dice that he does. And I do get 2 hits, he gets 1 hit. So we're kind of on even footing now, but I have more rerolls. But the downside is I need one of my guys to survive after the battle so that I can actually take control of Pelagier. I get a hit, he does not get a hit. And at this point I'm very confident that I can win. But I miss. But he also misses. I mean, he only rolls 1 die, so yeah. And now I get my hit. He doesn't get a hit, and oof, I managed to, yeah, in my mind, turn it around because it felt like a pretty lost cause, or at least like a pretty long shot for me to take it because he was so fast. And I think here I took it because he did some misplays. Like with the tokens, I think he should have saved 1 token so as to not use the final ring to get Brannon. Then he could have retaken Dale round, and then he can dunk next turn. Probably. Also, Kindred of Glorfindel. Like, maybe it doesn't save Rivendell the way I ruled, but I probably would have had to spend an extra die, and then if I spend just 1 more die doing something, then I'm not winning this turn. And then Woodland Realm, yeah. With 1 extra elite in there, I probably don't take it. And one other thing that I didn't really see, but he was debating, was play Dane to buff off this army, and then use 2 character dice to break out of Erebor and take back Dale. Which is an interesting line of play that I think is very reasonable. The downside to it is that you will end the turn on step 2. You give me 1 full turn to get to my 10 victory points. And yeah, then I would have to look at the Shire and Edoras probably, or Helm's Deep, depending on what I roll. Because then you probably don't dunk on turn 8. And yeah, actually I might just take Edoras and I get a big enough army. But yeah, I might not have the dice for that. So yeah, maybe that would have been another option. But I think taking the risk with Pelagier at the end was also kind of fine. I don't know the odds. I feel like he was probably slightly in favor, but it must have been pretty close. So yeah, I can show you the statistics, and it did even out pretty well. Like I was -5 on 6s at the end of turn 5, and then I started rolling 6s to actually finish +2 on hits, or +2 on 6s anyways. And yeah, he hit better than me. Unfortunately, I had big enough armies to be able to compensate for it. And yeah, he rolled a lot of wills and characters. But at least this time I wasn't plus on Palantirs and Eyes, so I had enough time to win on turn 7. So yeah, that means that I won both my first series, so I'll hopefully have pretty good seeding going into round 3. I'm curious to see how far this year will take me. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.